I'm Laura Fay, the host of WytPods, and today we have Kate from the Intern Mentor. Kate, I am very happy to have you with us today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Excellent, excellent. I'm really excited to learn about you. So why don't you start by sharing with me a little bit about yourself and your journey into the Intern Mentor?
Oh, my journey. Yes. Uh, so it's, let me start by saying that the Intern Mentor is a 360 service. And so the journey has lots of different components that led me to be here and launch this business. So part of it was, and this is the original sort of catalyst, which is a couple companies ago, I've been in the fashion industry for 15 years plus. But a couple companies ago, I started working on an intern program with the company and the HR team and everyone there. And what it was very organic. My leadership was like, hey, you seem to have a knack for training interns. What's your trick? Let's share it with some of the other managers that host mentors or interns. And
Right.
I'm like, okay, great. So I whipped up this thing called roles and responsibilities, which if, for people who don't really know what that is, it's basically a job description, but for internal use.
Right.
So it's not the thing that you see posted per se, but it's very similar. And I
Right.
shared it and I'm realizing this isn't what I do. Like I had to create this at a request, not so much what I actually use and do in the process. So I started to pull together all this information and I shared that and it snowballed. I won't get into all of it, but it snowballed
Right.
and eventually became quite a program through the company, which was really exciting in part because I had the freedom to do it. And um, I didn't stop with just the training aspect. I also worked a lot with the managers that were taking part in the program. And I was very particular about who would be a manager and what they were bringing to the table and not just bringing in all these interns and hoping for the best, making sure both sides were prepared to do this. Because one of the things that people don't talk about very much is that interns are usually paired with people who've never managed before or don't have a lot of experience managing. Like they haven't gone through all the difficult conversations yet and all of that stuff. So I wanted to sort of provide a support system for them as well. And
Right.
what was interesting after having done this program, there were a couple of unlocks that came up pretty early on. One from the manager perspective, which is you are training your ideal new assistant designer. Like you are training the person you want. You are not just training someone and spending time on someone who's going to leave in 3 to 4 months. Like, don't think of it that way. Think of it as this is the next person you want to hire. Like, this is your investment in your future and your team's future as well. And that made a
Right.
huge shift. The other huge
Right.
shift, which again became a catalyst for everything else, was when the interns came, I was telling them, like, don't think of yourself as an intern. Don't think of yourself as someone who's sort of stuck between school and work. Think of yourself as someone who is now in the role. You are auditioning, you're in this role, and you have 3 to 4 months to prove like you are the person for this role. Like, this is yours until it's not. And their investment in it and their engagement and their dedication and profession, everything shifted. Everything changed. And so eventually COVID hit, left the job, found a new job, did some other things along the way. And I'm realizing in a new job that I'm starting to rely on a lot of these skills again. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, didn't people just get smarter?
Right.
didn't
Right.
like time has passed, isn't this common knowledge? Like this isn't necessarily brain surgery or anything. And I'm realizing no, people are still in the same spot that they were in a few years ago. And so I start leveraging the same tools and tricks, and I create onboarding documents and all sorts of things like I did for the program originally, but for now for contractors. So now for people who are anywhere from entry level to senior level.
Right.
And what was interesting about that is they all had the same challenges. Being new is a universal challenge for people. And
Right.
so this opportunity was really exciting for me because it gave me the insight to do this from the corporate lens, but outside of the context of an intern program per se, and really branch out and look at everything from a different perspective.
Right. So tell me a little bit about a program with you. Tell me a little bit about specifically about your company.
Yeah. So we're 360, which means that I work with those who are either in school, about to graduate, have graduated, or just in that entry level phase, whether it's 1 to 3 years ish. And I
Right.
help them really finesse the skills, which are usually soft skills, to prepare and land a job and then onboard themselves. So get through that 30, 60, 90-day period on the job.
Right.
Like I said, onboarding is such a critical part in this whole thing. It's not enough to just go through the intern or the interview process. You got to get through learning a
Yeah.
new role.
Right. You want to reach that final destination.
Yeah, yeah, you actually have to do the job at the end. Like there's
Right.
time after all of that. And
Right.
so that was part of it. And then I ended up teaching a course that was professional practices at a local art school, which was a huge unlock too from the instructor perspective. What is being trained in school, where their emphasis are, what their challenges are for instructors, where do they have the bandwidth to spend the energy in training?
Right.
I had the opportunity to really pilot some programs through there, which was really exciting and got phenomenal feedback from the students specifically in how to talk about the things that really set you up for success after school.
Right.
And then, of course, the company side of things, which is really the onboarding, because onboarding doesn't stop with the HR onboarding. It really starts when you're handed off to your manager and you go through the 30, 60, 90 period.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you have such a great service that really can be life-changing because if you get the opportunity as the intern, as you're saying in different words, you want to land the job if you like interning there, right? So that's really important. Now, how would somebody find out about your company outside of word of mouth? What's been your most effective marketing strategy?
Yeah, well, word of mouth is definitely one of them. I've been keeping close with former coworkers and educators and all of that network that I had developed through the design roles that I held in the industry. But I also have a social media account where people can find me. And then a lot of people have been finding me on LinkedIn as well.
On LinkedIn. Yeah, no, that's really good. Now, I know every business has challenges along the way. You hit that roadblock, no business escapes it. What was yours?
I hate marketing. I really hate marketing. I am a creative person and I really don't like the marketing. I'm the person who likes being behind the scenes, kind of doing the thing, and then I help other people get in the spotlight. I being in the spotlight is not always my comfort spot. So marketing is sort of an extension of that, unfortunately. So I'm getting my skills polished a little bit in that realm, and I'm learning as I go.
Yeah, no, well, that's great. And if you're doing, like you said, social media and you have your LinkedIn presence, that's a good thing. And maybe it'll get you out of your comfort zone
Yeah.
a little because it's very obvious that you are very, very helpful. And really, like I said, this could be the keys to somebody's future, to their whole career. If you have the opportunity, you want to thrive on that opportunity and show that company who you are. You play a big part in that with your services.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really important. Now, what would you say differentiates you from another coach? You would like to use that term.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I sort of go back and forth on how I identify in this space,
Yeah.
but I am definitely different in the sense that I'm filling the hole between the two worlds. So a lot of coaches will be very resume, portfolio, interview skill focused, and I do address those things, but my focus really isn't on those. It's about the habits that take you from school into a professional environment that will take
Yeah.
you through the end of your career.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
really understanding what's within your power when you go into new environments and navigate challenges professionally, that I think some coaches do address it, but a lot of it is cookie cutter. And every individual is different. It's learning to manage people in a way, giving them the space to be unique individuals in corporate environments.
Yeah, and that's really important because from what you're saying, if I'm understanding you correctly, is the role that you really play is bringing value to somebody regardless of which job they're at. You're teaching them things that they need to take with them. Jobs, unfortunately, come and go, things change, but you remain. And it sounds like you focus on the person. You need to learn these skills and they will carry you through life. So it's really an investment that lasts forever.
Yeah, yeah. And it builds, right? You get more experience and then you go back to some of the original foundational things and you're like, oh, I see why that was important now. Let me brush
Yeah,
up on the foundational, make sure I'm really solid for this next round or this
yeah.
next opportunity.
I love that. This is such an important thing that you're doing. I really appreciate that. What vision do you have in your mind for your company long term?
Long term, I would really like to start to focus on systemic issues with the transition and coaching and support system around young professionals, because it's been, at least based on the stories and my personal experience and things that I've heard, I went through it. It was always rough. It's not good. And
Yeah,
so I'm not going to spend time because everyone has to go through this. This is just a thing that people have to live through or figure out. And it's almost a badge of honor once you've gotten to the other side. And I
yeah,
feel like what that ends up doing is everyone starts backwards. So instead of moving the group forward and building off of, experiences and knowledge, you're always cutting yourself and the team and a company back by
yeah,
starting from scratch again, and having everyone learn everything the hard way and hoping for the best, right? Because
yeah.
the managers are like, oh well, they'll figure it out, but they don't know. They
Right.
forgot what it's like to be new.
Exactly. They don't know.
Yeah, and it's different now probably than when they were new. They've gotten different information and they might not have gotten the same, there might be aspects that aren't being told now that they got when they were new. And there's just so many
Yeah,
assumptions and just breaking out of that.
absolutely. Kate, it's been such a pleasure talking to you and hearing about the value that you bring that really can affect somebody's career long term. I appreciate everything that you shared with me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are very, very welcome, and I wish you nothing but continued success.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.